How's everybody doing? I recently purchased a Case skid loader, 1835C. It's got the Continental diesel engine. I believe it's Continental. I bought this machine for just about $4 grand, and it's got a fuel leak coming off of two of the hard lines coming off the injection pump. So I'm going to start by popping those off, seeing how bad the flange is on the hard lines, and trying to figure out if I can reuse them or just get new ones. Alright, so started by disconnecting the battery, playing around right above some playing around near the starter, so I figured we might as well. And I also got in here and disconnected the first fuel line, which goes to the center cylinder. Sorry about the shadows. So I'm gonna pull that line off. I gotta pull the bracket off and see what she looks like. So after not being able to get through there, I decided that I'm just going to empty the radiator and pull that out of the way. Alright, well, we got the radiator pulled off. Now I can more easily get my hands in here and try to pull off the fuel line on the, call it the front side of the injection pump, front side being the cab side of the injection pump. Might pull off this radiator hose just to get out of my way. Keep in mind there is a fan here, and you should just disconnect your battery just for safety. Never know what's going to happen, especially on a machine that you just bought, and you don't know what else is going on with it. So let's get to work. All right, so I got the fuel lines off. I'm just looking at the ends, I'm looking at the threads. I apologize, the lighting is not great, but looking at the flanges, and doesn't look fantastic, but doesn't look horrible. And I'm checking threads on here just to make sure nothing was cross-threaded when it went on, because what I'm going to do when I put it back on, so I'm going to try putting these back on first before getting new ones, is put a little thread seal on there. Can't think of what the actual term would be. I'll show you when I actually do it, but putting that on there and trying to seal up this fitting. But for tonight, that's all. We'll get back to this tomorrow. So I cleaned up the backside of the flange on the fuel line, and it actually seats up pretty nice. It was pretty gummed up, and like as you would rotate the nut around the flange, you would just hear it kind of crunching. So I'm curious to know if this was seated all the way, but because of the gunk that was on the back side of it and on the front side of it, just caused it to not seat well. So clean that up. Might even hit it with the polisher, just with sticking something in the end here so I don't get crap in my fuel lines. Just to really kind of clean it up, make it seat nice. Probably won't do that, but that would be extreme. This side, when I pulled it off, this is the top side that goes up to the injector. This was rotating really nice from the start, so that's what led me to think that it might be part of the problem. We'll see. So this one I haven't touched yet, but you can kind of hear it just kind of gummed up and grimy. Same thing with this one, but this is the top side, so it's a little bit better. So get these cleaned up, and tomorrow I'll throw them back on the machine with some thread seal or pipe thread seal, whatever the hell it is. Just give it a go. Just gotta make sure I don't get it in the actual fuel line, so it's got to go on the thread side on the machine instead of in here. So give it a go tomorrow. Alright, so it is actually a couple days later, and by the looks of where the machine is sitting, no longer where the Infiniti is, back in the back of the garage. Probably tell that I've ran it, moved it. I ended up using some super high quality Teflon tape. I can't remember what the name of it is off the top of my head, but I'll show it to you in a minute. And put that on there, and so far no leaks. This piece of cardboard underneath it, I know it looks like it's leaking oil, but this is what my fiance used to do her oil change, so there is no new marks on here, just residue from the oil change. So far so good. When I threw the radiator back on, I didn't have the hoses tightened down enough. I thought I did, but I ended up hitting them with the impact a couple times just to really get them snug down, and that stopped leaking. You can see that it's a little wet back here by the hydraulic pump, but that's a project for another day. But she runs way better now than she did before. I also filled it up with hydraulic fluid to 3/4 of the way up on that sight glass. I'll show you that. And there, it wasn't even reading on the sight glass when I brought it home, which is slightly alarming, but I was able to look in the fill cap and actually stick a modified dipstick down to verify that there was in fact some hydraulic fluid in it. So I will show you what exactly I did with the Teflon tape with a really rudimentary diagram, and I'll take you over to the bench and look at that now. Alright, so I'm just using the back of a receipt here, but if this is your fuel line that I had out of the machine before that I showed on camera earlier, this is the bubble flare. I believe it's an SAE bubble flare, not a DINS bubble flare. This is the nut that clamps everything down, so this will slide over the bubble flare and attach to the fitting or screw onto the fitting on the injection pump. And what I ended up doing was I wrapped the bubble flare in the Teflon tape, and I also put it on the threads of the fuel fitting. However, on the side closest to the block, I was not able to actually get it on the threads on the fuel fitting. So it's only on the bubble flare. And I also used a stubby 17 mil wrench. I'll grab that. And I was able to tighten it down with this. Now, I do not see the Teflon tape being a long-term fix, but for now, it seems to be all right. And I'll keep you updated on that as we go. This is the Teflon tape that I was talking about, that I used. Blue Monster Teflon tape, and a couple of guys online said that they've used it, so figured I would give it a go. Also, when I was draining the radiator, the easy drain plug was just so worn out. You turn this and it does not suck this down into the nut anymore, so I had to scramble and try to find one that matched it, and O'Reilly's actually had the correct matching part, and I believe the nut on this is a 9/16. I can't remember if that's exactly it, but sure, there you go with that. Another tip, the mirror, having a mirror will be your best friend when you are working around that injection pump and you are only pulling the radiator off. The cabs, I can't remember if they tip up on these or slide forward. I know on the Case 1845C they slide forward. I think that they slide forward on this machine too, but I do not have the service manual, so I'm not positive, and I have not seen anybody online doing that, at least on YouTube. So there you go. That is how I got this machine running again, and I'll do a startup here in just a minute. So like you saw in the last clip, she fired up. Took a minute to get the injection pump all primed up. Sat on the key for a minute. But she did fire up. That was a cold start. Last time I ran her was early this morning, like 8 or 9 a.m. And then it is now, let's see, 6:30, almost 7 o'clock. So she's been sitting all day, so consider that mostly a cold start. But thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and see if I can try to help you out.